Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating chapter on how to become a citizen scientist right in your very own neighborhood. We're going to figure out how to build what's essentially a masterclass level study guide for your local ecosystem called a biodiversity register. We'll explore the entire process, from observing to documenting, and really getting to understand the incredibly rich tapestry of life that's just buzzing around us every single day. So here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll be hitting 1. Discovering local biodiversity. 2. Preparing for field visits. 3. Observing and recording nature. 4. Using tools and experts. And finally, 5. Presenting your findings. Let's get into it. Section 1. Discovering local biodiversity. Let's start by figuring out what exactly we're even looking for right outside our front doors. When we hear the word biodiversity, I think a lot of us immediately picture some distant rainforest or a massive coral reef, but actually, it's right here. It's the birds nesting in the trees down the street, the bugs crawling in the soil, the fish in the local creek. It literally includes everything from the largest mammals all the way down to those tiny microscopic organisms hiding in the dirt under our feet. So what is a biodiversity register? Think of it as your ultimate master logbook for documenting all these different life forms. It's not just a list of names. It's a comprehensive document where you capture the whole picture. Like, what kind of soil does that plant like? What does that weird insect actually eat? You even record the local indigenous names for things alongside their fancy scientific ones. It's like building a giant puzzle of your local ecosystem. And honestly, the stakes here are surprisingly high. Why does this matter? Well, as habitats constantly shrink, mostly due to construction and agriculture, and as the climate keeps shifting, your register actually becomes a critical historical record. Ecosystems are deeply intertwined, right? So the loss of even a seemingly random weed or a tiny bug can send a massive ripple effect all the way up the food chain to us humans. You aren't just taking notes, you are literally documenting history. All right, Section 2. Preparing for field visits, because any good scientist will tell you field research is entirely about the prep work. Before you just grab a notebook and run outside, you need a blueprint. Setting up a simple framework, like a table, helps you brainstorm what you already know. You jot down organisms, maybe their names in a couple of different languages, and where you usually spot them, like near a pond or just stealing snacks in the park. It kind of primes your brain and focuses your eyes before the hunt even begins. And planning is everything. You absolutely need to map out a clear schedule for your visits. Nature doesn't stand still, right? It changes all the time. You definitely don't want to miss different times of the day or totally different weather conditions. A bug that's hiding away during the midday heat might be super active right at sunset. Systematic data collection is what separates a casual observer from a true citizen scientist. Moving on to Section 3, Observing and Recording Nature. This is where we get to the really fun stuff. This is you in the field, getting up close and personal. You're out there with your magnifying lenses, examining leaves, taking meticulous notes right there in the grass. When you actually use tools to see those intricate, tiny details in real time, you discover things a casual passerby would walk right past. It unlocks a whole new, hidden layer of the world. Now, when it comes to logging that data, precision is absolutely crucial. If you're looking at local crops, for example, you can't just write down, "Hey, I saw an onion." You need to note the exact date, the specific habitat, and what the weather was doing right at that moment. That level of detail is what transforms a simple walk in the park into actionable scientific data. To make sure your register is rock solid, there are 3 core protocols you should follow every single time you head out. Step 1. Share your observations with friends or peers because they're definitely going to catch details you missed. Step 2. Ecosystems are dynamic, so always fill in new info on repeat visits. And Step 3. If you see something you don't recognize, sketch it or snap a photo immediately. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Using Tools and Experts. Because let's face it, eventually, you are gonna get totally stumped by a bug or a plant. When that happens, this project uses a really brilliant balance to identify the unknown. We're talking about merging ancient, traditional community wisdom with cutting-edge modern technology. You have these 2 vastly different but incredibly powerful resources. On the traditional side, never hesitate to tap into the local experts right in your community. A local farmer or a forest officer understands the land in a way a textbook just can't teach. And even cooler, Consulting an Ayurvedic Vaidya, a traditional medicine practitioner, can unlock generations of knowledge about medicinal herbs and plants that you'd likely never uncover on your own. But then, on the flip side, you have literal artificial intelligence in your pocket. You can leverage tools like Google Lens to instantly analyze the photos you took. Using optical character recognition and machine learning, the AI acts like a superpowered digital field guide, instantly pulling up data on that weird beetle you found. It is a total game changer. All right, finally, Section 5, Presenting Your Findings. It's time to pull the whole shebang together. Your data is only as good as your ability to communicate it. Your goal now is to weave all those scattered notes, tables, and AI analyses into one cohesive story. Imagine you're a tour guide showing a visitor around your ecosystem. You want to combine your diagrams and explanations so clearly that anyone can picture the vibrant biodiversity you've been studying. And a truly standout presentation, it goes way beyond strict biology. You want to highlight the cultural connection between your community and nature. Are certain local trees considered sacred? Are specific plants used for traditional medicine or to feed livestock? That's the stuff that turns a dry biological survey into a deeply fascinating story about your community. Oh, and as you wrap up, it is super helpful to track your own scientific process. Calculate roughly how much time, like how many weeks or class periods you spent prepping, collecting data, talking to experts, and building the presentation. It really gives you an appreciation for the sheer amount of hustle that goes into real scientific research. So, having done all this, gathering rich local data, consulting AI, chatting with community experts, I'm going to leave you with one final question. When a visitor arrives in your neighborhood, how will you explain the incredible biodiversity living right alongside you? What hidden wonders are you going to show them? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and seriously, grab a notebook and get out there. You'll be amazed at what you find.